It's day 2 in a brand new working week. Welcome to Breakfast Central here on News Central. It feels really good to be back after we had a very, very interesting show yesterday. My name is Joe Hansen.
And I'm Benga Aborowa. It's a bright and beautiful Tuesday morning here in Lagos, Nigeria. I will have quite a lot in store for you today on the program, and I'm looking forward to be part of this as always. A warm welcome to you all.
That's right. Well, let's go straight to some of the top stories that you may have missed out from last night. And we're going to look at one of the biggest stories as we kick off on Breakfast Central. But don't forget, you can be part of the conversation on all socials, especially if you are on YouTube, X, or better still on Facebook, you name it. Go ahead and tweet and let us know what you think about these stories. But one of the biggest stories from last night or from midnight up until this morning has got to do with the pardon. Everyone seems to be reacting to that pardon. It's a pardon from Afe Babalola to Dele Farotimi, saying that he would indeed ensure that he's not going to press further with the charges, and he's ready to listen to the calls from the elders, you could say, from those who have spoken to him to say, listen, just let this go. Benga, I don't know what your thoughts are concerning this.
I mean, just for the sake of those that haven't been following the story, a quick recall. Dele Farotimi wrote a book, and in this book, he alleged that the senior advocate of Nigeria, Chief Afe Babalola, won a lot of his cases through corrupt practices, and the old man didn't like that, so he filed a litigation case against him for a defamation case against him. And operatives and men of the Nigerian police force came to his chambers, his house, and took him all the way to Ekiti State. He was detained for quite some time, and it was only granted bail after a few weeks. It's been high-octane drama, lots of back and forth, and of course, like Joe said, it elicited a lot of commentary on social media and of course in the general media space. But some relief that, you know, common sense prevailed and the ordeal is finally over. But the big question, Joe, is what happens to the books, because it was removed from a lot of bookshops in Nigeria.
Don't forget too that you still have these books selling, especially on the international platforms. But then again, it also increased in terms of sale. You did have a lot of buying and purchasing of the book. People were actually clicking it, putting it into their carts, and ensuring that they get a good read of that book. But it feels good to know that Dele Farotimi eventually will be let off the hook so he can actually focus. But the question now is, what next? For Dele Farotimi, what next? Is he going to come back to the scene and ensure he continues to speak truth to power, like he says, as always? Or is it going to be a different Dele Farotimi that we're going to see going forward? One who possibly may have learned from the bite he received, especially concerning this recent issue, and decide to focus on something quite different? Or is it going to be an aluta continua?
I guess time will tell. I guess time will tell.
Anyway, some of the biggest stories as well making the rounds from last night has got to do with the arrests. Well, we wouldn't want to say it's an arrest, of course. He was invited by the police, and then again, he was given reasons to actually be left off the hook as well, but he chose not to. We're talking about Sowore himself. Yesterday at the FCT, as you can see in the video there, he was being held while he was inside of the police van, and he was, you know, his normal sign and saying, let's go, we're not going anywhere. We're not going to sign what they give us to sign, according to him on his Twitter space, X space, I beg your pardon. Benga, I don't know your thoughts about this story.
I mean, Omoyele Sowore is a certified feather ruffler. He's a self-acclaimed activist. He's been doing this since the days of June 12, and like you said, the Alota spirit in him lives on. And the genesis of all of this is because of some recordings he made alleging police corruption. The policemen set up a roadblock, and he decided to record them. He was invited to the force headquarters to make a statement. And from what became a friendly visit, he was detained. They offered him sort of bail, but it decided to decline. We'll get into the details of that in our proper discussion later on the show.
That's right. That's right. So there's a lot that happened from midnight. If you're just waking up, we're saying good morning. Wake up and smell the coffee. I do not have an extra cup I could give to you here, but I'm sure Benga would be sipping on possibly water this morning. Anyway, you could join us, like I rightly said. Welcome. Come one, come all. Join us as we take a look at some of the biggest stories from here in Nigeria and, of course, around the world. I'm Joe Hansen. Once again, let's take a look at the top stories for today here on Breakfast Central. Today on Breakfast Central, police invite Sowore, sets bail conditions.
Sowore rejects bail conditions, insistent detention.
Also on Breakfast Central, new Lagos Speaker Miranda assumes office. Did you see that picture? And many more. We'll talk about that as well. We'll also be looking at the top trends of 2025 event. We do have two guests who will join us here on Breakfast Central.
And of course, we have our newspaper front pages. We'll be bringing you that later on the show.
Thanks for staying with us here on Breakfast Central. Let's take a look at some of the stories on breakfast headlines. Governor Uba Sani of Kaduna State has defended his administration's decision to negotiate with bandits responsible for years of violence across the state. Speaking during an interview with the BBC Hausa service on Monday, Governor Sani emphasized that dialogue was a preferred alternative to the continued loss of lives. He explained that the move was influenced by appeals from residents and traditional rulers in affected areas. As a demonstration of commitment to the peace initiative, the governor revealed that the bandits had recently released over 200 abducted individuals in Giwa and Beningwari local government areas. Away from that story to another one this time, let's come back to Lagos. It was waiting game at the Lagos State House of Assembly on Monday as expectations for a plenary session were unmet. The legislature has been in the spotlight following the refusal of removed Speaker Mudashiru Obasa to accept the processes that led to his removal, raising concerns about how proceedings would unfold if he attempted to resume. Journalists who gathered at the Assembly complex to monitor the situation waited for hours, only to be informed by Assembly spokesman Stephen Ogundipe that the sitting had been rescheduled. Omoluabi Progressives, the political group of Rauf Aregbesola, a former governor of Osun State, has announced its decision to quit the All Progressives Congress. The decision was reached during a stakeholders meeting in Ilesha, Osun State. Inaugurated in 2023, Sunday's meeting was attended by Aregbesola and other members of the APC faction in the 332 wards of Osun. In a statement, Abosede Oluwaseun, spokesperson of the group, said members resolved to quit APC because of what he termed, quote, ostracization from the party, suspension and expulsion of leaders without fair hearing, and continuous denigration of the structure. The activist and former presidential candidate of the African Action Congress, Omoyele Sowore, has rejected the Nigerian police bail conditions and opted to remain in custody. He said he was asked to submit his passport and present a grade level 17 officer, the equivalent of a permanent secretary, as surety. Sowore had arrived at the police headquarters in Abuja on Monday morning after he was invited by the police for questioning over a viral video he posted alleging extortion by officers at a checkpoint in Lagos. The recent proposal by the House of Representatives to decentralize Nigeria's Supreme Court has garnered widespread support, particularly from legal professionals across the country. On the 9th of December, the House introduced a bill seeking to establish 5 additional divisions of the Supreme Court alongside its existing headquarters in Abuja. The proposed divisions would be located in Umuahia, Bauchi, Uyo, Lagos, and Kano. The initiative aims to enhance access to justice, reduce logistical costs for litigants, and expedite the resolution of cases. Let's touch on our final story. This morning, a huge crowd gathered in Bukavu, a city in the east of Democratic Republic of Congo, to support peace in the conflict-hit east of the country as the Congolese army battles Rwandan troops and militia fighters in and around the Congolese city of Goma. Heavy artillery fire and gunshots echoed through the besieged Congolese city of Goma on Monday as DR Congo forces battled militia fighters and Rwandan troops, while Kigali said 5 civilians were killed across the Rwandan border. And that's all the news we have for you here on Breakfast Headlines. Don't forget that you can be part of the show by tweeting at us on X and also following us on all socials. Don't forget to also drop a comment if you're watching and streaming live on Facebook and also on YouTube. We'll go straight into our stories here on Breakfast Central. Stay with us.
You're welcome back to Breakfast Central. It's time for us to look at a big story of the day. Popular activist Omoyele Sowore has been detained by the police force headquarters in Abuja following his refusal to meet bail conditions provided by the police. Sowore was invited by the police to give explanations to a video he posted on social media accusing the police of extorting citizens, allegations that did not go down well with the leadership of the police. News Central's Bureau Chief Amadine Uyi reports.
Major roads leading to the police force headquarters were barricaded by police personnel. The checkpoints caused a minor traffic gridlock as vehicles along the route were stopped and searched. Shortly after, activist Omoyele Sowore appeared and was led into the police force headquarters. After several hours, he, however, was not released as his supporters waited in vain.
They have refused to release him on self-recognizance. They have given an outrageous bail condition, suggesting that Omoyele Sowore should produce a permanent secretary, level 17 officer in the civil service to take him on bail. Even if you commit the crime of terrorism, how can any court impose such a condition for administrative bail?
The hierarchy of the police has personal issues with him. So it's on that basis they are trying to keep him. But I can assure you that Nigerians are watching closely happenings in this place.
Some of his lawyers who had come with the activist say his actions should be described as patriotic and not warrant an invitation from the police.
There is no crime in uploading or exposing corruption.
Expose corruption.
As a matter of fact, when somebody exposes corruption in this country, such a person should be commended. The police should have invited Sowore and tell him thank you for doing a wonderful job by exposing corruption.
They also accused the police of being unprofessional and misusing powers given to them by the state.
Sowore has said that the police are extorting people on the main road. Should the police be a judge in this whole matter? Why don't you, in the interest of fairness, in the interest of equity and justice, why don't you refer this issue to another agency, security agency, maybe like the DSOS or the NSA, and a neutral person? You cannot be the one that is being accused of extorting citizens and still be the investigator, be the one to provide witnesses. What are we talking about? Are we playing in this country?
They urged the police to release the activist on administrative bail, saying the condition mandating Sowore to present a level 17 officer from the Federal Civil Service as surety for his bail is frivolous and unacceptable. In Abuja for News Central, I am Amadine Uyi.
Very interesting there. Very, very interesting there. Now, all of that took place yesterday in Abuja. Now, if you do recall, there is a video of Omoyele Sowore that indeed trended just a few weeks back where he was on his way en route to the airport. And if you are very familiar with the airport route or route, you would find out that most times you have police officers usually just form a barricade around that area. And all of a sudden they engage not just in checking, but of course in other activities, as it were. But let's take a look at the video. I would like you to be the judge from where you are, or better still, just look at this on a level playing field or level playing ground in comparison to what he has just been told to do for him to gain release. But take a look.
Hello, officer. Hello.
How are you? Which one? I want to cause traffic for this place again. Not be airport road be this, huh? Wanna come up for roads? Wanna come up for roads? No, wind this place down. Why not? We are not parking. We are not supposed to be causing traffic to the airport. We are not parking. Wanna calm down? Wanna calm down? Wanna calm down? We know the park. We know the park. Go and bring your car. I know the park. Now they cause traffic for roads. We don't need this traffic. This is the airport to this airport road. I know the park. I know the park. Come on for roads. Come on for roads. I know the park. Go bring your commissioner. I know the park.
Let's allow him to go.
I know the park. I know the park. When I come up for roads.
So there you have the video, and questions have, come out to either support what Sowore has done by asking, did he do what was wrong by simply calling out the police, who all of a sudden have put up a structure or a barricade or a checkpoint, asking Nigerians to stop on the aspect of stop and search, even when there is a warrant or not. And that's just one. And then there's also the issue of, okay, let's have something. Let's be honest. Let's be honest, Nigerians. If you have plied that route regularly and you see this, there are many times where you have to part away with 1,000 naira, 500 naira, or do something for the boys.
Yes, and it's absolutely true, but there are different ways to look at that video we just saw of Sowore. An officer of the law said, pack, and they said, we're not packing. Regardless of what you assume they are doing, you should obey. If it was some other persons, I would have, if it was me, for example, I would have done a secret recording, because we do know, as a matter of fact, like you said, these things do happen. There are unnecessary checkpoints. A lot of Nigerians that traveled over the Yuletide season to their hometowns will tell you there are multiple checkpoints, and at each checkpoint, a lot of, especially commercial drivers, have to part with some form of money or the other. So the grouse, I think, the Nigerian police has with Sowore in that video was, it was ordered to pack, and he said, we're not packing, for reasons best known to him, because he's assumed that they were extorting people. But we can, if you do a vox pop, if you do a public opinion, a lot of Nigerians, overwhelming number of Nigerians will tell you these things happen on a regular. Well, so the police, by detaining him, they're just putting the spotlight on them, which is a good thing. It will lead to conversations on police reforms, and this behavior of extorting or demanding some form of monetary compensation. For Nigerians, you're a civil servant. The Nigerian Police Force is a voluntary organization. They didn't conscript you. If you know you're not comfortable there, your salary is not enough, you can take your leave. It tells a lot about the police force of a country if you see their men acting this way. Imagine foreigners witnessing this, and a lot of them do witness this. You remember the biker incident? The lady from Netherlands said, give me money, I want money.
I remember how that brought a lot of especially we say disgrace.
And they were fired.
Yeah, it was sad. But then again, we've painted two scenarios now, Gbenga. We've looked at the aspect of the fact that, one, what he did may have been wrong. He should have obeyed first, of course, which is what we would advise here on anybody watching. It's not advisable for you to just go ahead headlong with the police officers. They are ensuring that the law must be obeyed. So obey first, that's one. Two, others are saying that what he did, was it wrong in any case? Because he was actually calling out what should have not happened, especially at that place. Yes. But then again, these conversations are what we're going to look at. We do have our guest who is joining us to take a look at this Very interesting story. We do have human rights activist who's here with us this morning, and he is also a principal partner at Inebeye Effiong Chambers. We do have Barrister Inebeye Effiong join us this morning. Good morning, and thank you so much for being here. Okay, let's try and see if we can get Inebeye Effiong's connectivity clearly and right, so he could react to this story, because he took to X and also reacted earlier on.
And there are also other legal angles to look at, and it would be nice to get his perspective, especially when it comes to administrative bail and the different types of bail we have. We also have Senior Advocate of Nigeria, Mr. Femi Falana. He did make a comment about this bail system, that it's illegal for the police to use civil servants as shorties as a condition for offering bail. So
the question is, I mean, it would be really nice having Inebeye Effiong join us, because it seems like we're not really understanding what the law is. Especially when I say we, I'm also talking about those who are supposed to uphold the tenets of the law here in Nigeria as put in the Constitution. Because just like we saw in the package covered by Amadine Uyi, you did see that questions were being asked. Why would you say someone who didn't steal, who did not kill, who did not commit any crime of murder or so on or the likes, why would you say he should go and get
exactly
a level 17, you know, if not possibly go and get a level 16? And others have also pushed back to say what Sowore has done is also good, because if he accepts that, it will end up being the norm and could also be used as a means of possibly used for others as well.
Like what we're seeing now, one of the charges, or one of the reasons why the police is holding him in detention, they've said cyber stalking, you know, and some other charges. And this is what they call lawfare, you know, using the law, overreaching, and using it to inhibit, to stifle people's human rights and freedom of expression. This is a conversation that we really need to have, and it's very, very important for Nigerians to know what their rights are. We're still waiting to connect with Inebeye Effiong, human rights activist and principal partner Inebeye Effiong Chambers, give us the legal angles and perspectives to this conversation.
It's a key question, and it's a key story to look at, especially this morning. Most importantly, a lot of Nigerians have thought that by now, Sowore would be out and would have no reason to do anything else. But let's talk to Inebeye Effiong, who joins us this morning. Good morning and welcome to Breakfast Central.
Morning.
Great. I'm sure you've been following through our conversations, and as we are not the legal practitioners, we can only have our opinions on this issue. First off, can you break it down to us? What crime did Sowore commit to warrant what he's been told to do in order for him to gain possibly his freedom and release?
Let me start by placing on record that I am one of the lawyers to Moyele Sowore. I've known Sowore for over a decade. I've had over a decade of close professional and personal relationship with Mr. Sowore. I am also the National Legal Advisor of the African Action Congress. I currently represent Sowore in a number of cases, and I'm also going to be part of whatever part of his legal team in whatever charge the police may choose to bring. So let me play that on record so that I will not be seen to be someone who is disinterested. However, the facts must be set out clearly. Whatever the police perceive Sowore has done, whatever infraction they believe he has committed, it only exists essentially in their mind. It is not real. It is not one that has any utilitarian value. It is not one that is plausibly in law. And I'm convinced that whatever charge they bring will collapse on the first day. This is not about law. This is not about an attempt to bring Sowore to justice. There is no offense known to law that he has committed. All those claims they are making about disobeying lawful directive, obstructing a police officer in the performance of his duty, cyber stalking, these are imaginary offenses that the police have invented. And people say, well, I heard when you were saying that, why did it have to engage in an altercation with them? The question is, why did the police stop the vehicle that he was inside? Why did they stop him? Under the law, the police does not have a unilateral, unquestionable, and unlimited power to stop citizens while in motion, right? To say that the police can just simply halt a vehicle and then begin to interrogate the occupants is simply wrong in the eyes of the law. If they stop him for the purpose of carrying out a search, the question is what was the basis for seeking to conduct a search? Under the Police Act, for the police to carry out a search, there must be reasonable suspicion of commission of crime. But you and I know that what the police does in Nigeria, in 95% of the cases regarding search, is not because they have any reasonable suspicion that the driver or any occupant of a vehicle has committed an offense. It is principally for the purpose of extortion. It is also for the purpose of harassment of Nigerians. So what was the basis for stopping the vehicle that he was under? So I do not see any point in what they have done. And now, assuming without considering that there's even a legal basis to bring him, to invite him, he has honored your invitation. He came on his own. This is someone that the federal government of Nigeria detained under the dictatorial government of Buhari for years, for almost 4 years, right? For alleged treasonable felony. He did not run away, even when he was released. Sowore currently has a number of criminal charges that he's facing. He goes abroad and comes back and has never jumped bail. He's the former two-time presidential candidate, the leader of a political party, if the founder of one of the leading media organizations in our country, and in his own right, a leading voice in our country. And he walks into the police headquarters, honors your invitation, and what do? You say he should go and bring a level 17 civil servant. And later you say, bring a level 16 civil servant. This is the police acting in bad faith. This is outrageous what they have done. The Court of Appeal has made it clear in the case of Dume and FRN that the requirement of asking a person to produce a civil servant as a surety is unknown to law. And in any event, the law is clear that conditions of bail must not be stringent, must be one that is capable of being fulfilled. So they have not granted him bail. What they have done is simply to introduce an impossible administrative bail condition, knowing that no civil servant, that the chances or the possibility of a civil servant of that cadre coming out to stand as a surety for someone like Sowore is very slim. Someone who is seen as an enemy of the Nigerian government. So I think they are just being mischievous. They are making a ridicule of themselves. They are reminding themselves that the police is an entertainment organization, right? It is just exists for entertainment and corruption. This is not about crime or law enforcement in any way. And we are going to challenge them on this. We are going to take them to the cleaners. We are not going to shy away from defending Sowore, irrespective of whatever sentiment the police has expressed. Besides that, the law is also clear that where a person is unable to fulfill the conditions of administrative bail, the police must still arraign that person in court within 24 hours. So by today, I expect them to bring Sowore before a judge, before a court of law. If they don't do that, they have already violated his conditional right by inviting him without any legal basis. So that violation will persist today if they don't take him before a court. And we demand that Sowore should be taken before a court, let charges be filed, and let us see how far they can go. But as I said, this is not about prosecution, because 100% of the times we have always defeated them when they file this kind of ridiculous charges. The intimidation of the police ends at their station. I can guarantee you that.
Okay.
All this frivolous legal rigmarole that they are doing will not hold up in court.
All right. Anyway, let's also look. I mean, Benga, you wanted to go first?
Yes, Sowore described these conditions, his bail conditions, as unreasonable. and has chosen to remain in detention. What are the legal implications for rejecting administrative bail, and where do you go as his legal representative and his team? Where do you go from here?
Well, looking at it on substance, Sowore has not been granted administrative bail because what is bail, right? What is the purpose of bail in law? The purpose of bail in law is to secure the attendance of a person, either in court or before law enforcement for the purpose of continuation of investigation. When a person is admitted to bail, what is being done essentially is to ensure that that person is available to come. So you invited him, he has honored your invitation. What we see in Nigeria is a complete misunderstanding of the law. It is not supposed to be the case that police invitation should automatically translate into an arrest. That once a person honors an invitation, you must now place that person in custody and demand that that person should only be released on bail. They could have released him on his own self-recognizance. On self-recognizance. I have stated the reason for that. So you don't expect us to concede to begin to go to federal, secretariat in Abuja to scout for a level 17 or a level 16, civil servant. Where will you find that? That is essentially a permanent secretary. So you expect the permanent secretary to come and stand shorty for someone that the government perceives to be an enemy in a politically motivated charge. Sowore has accused the IG of occupying his office illegally. He has been at the forefront of the campaign against police brutality. So this is personal to them. For me, this is complete abuse of office. And this child's play that they are carrying out will come to an end the moment this matter comes before a court. I am confident that they cannot bring any serious charge against Sowore, because what will they charge him for? I've already explained to you that there was no basis to stop the vehicle that he was inside in the first place. And if they are saying that 1,000 Nigerians as witnesses, yes, we are willing to call 1,000 Nigerians as witnesses to give evidence in court that they have been extorted on the road by the police. Even as I speak to you, extortion is going on the highway. So what were those policemen doing there? Why did they have to stop the vehicle? What were they looking for? Are they carrying out the responsibilities of the road safety now? These are the questions that the media must begin to ask.
Okay, I mean, these are questions that most definitely we would always ask whenever we have any of the police officers, representatives here, be it by the PPRO, the PRO, the spokesperson and the likes. I understand that we also do have lawyer and human rights activist, Abubakar Mashal. He was there. He also spoke, openly to the press after Sowore was indeed told to provide these things. Let me put it that way, in order for him to get his release. Thank you so much for also joining us, Mr. Marshall. Inebe has spoken a lot and thoroughly on the case and what is being presented. He has also said it seems to be like a personal vendetta. Can you paint a picture for us on what you saw yesterday and what really took place? This is very critical because we're at an edge where either we fall off reforming the police system or we remain where we are, tiptoeing just at the edge of what we see today. Go ahead, please.
Thank you so much for having me. It's quite very obvious that the invitation of Mr. Omoyele Sowore was clearly an attempt or a way of resolving our personal issues. As we're all aware, the tenure of the current IG has long expired, and Mr. Sowore has been at the vanguard of calling for the removal of this IG because the constitutional provisions or the term of office that the Constitution provides for his tenure has long elapsed. So there's been these agitations for the interest of career progression, for the interest of advancement of the career of others in the police force, that the IG should give way so that we will not have the current stalemate in the
career progressions of the other police officers. So I strongly believe that the invitation of the police was orchestrated on account of that. The police hierarchy is not happy that Mr. Sowore has been calling for the removal of the illegal IGP as it seems to be currently. The invitation has been planned long ago, and the detention we saw yesterday has long been planned. The police never gave a bill. They had no intentions of releasing Mr. Sowore yesterday. And that made that very, very... This is not the first time we're having this kind of back and forth with the men of the FID. I remember this case of Mr. Speed Darlington, Akbi, as you know him. They gave the same kind of conditions. But at the last minute, they will just thwart it because they have other motives. Even if you bring a senator yesterday to stand shorty for Sowore, I can assure you 100% they would not release him. Their game plan is to detain Sowore yesterday and to take him to Lagos today to stand or to get a holding charge against Mr. Sowore. That is the game plan. And don't let anybody deceive you that saying we vetted him because of the video he did on the highway. Firstly, it was established yesterday during the interview we had of the police that there is no offense or there is no crime committed whatsoever by Mr. Sowore. As a matter of fact, the basic questions we asked the investigators, they could not answer any of them. And when you talk about criminal allegations against the person who was invited by the police, we even asked them, firstly, where is the scene of the alleged crime? They could not establish it. We also asked them the ingredients and the basic constituents of such crimes they are alleging. None of them was established. If you look at these allegations that the DIG read critically yesterday, none of those particular allegations suffice to be a crime. But because they have an axe to grind, because they have personal vendetta against Mr. Sowore, they decided to keep him as a form of retaliating the call for the removal of the IGP. And they are simply wanting to, as I speak to you now, they are...
I think we lost Abubakar.
So they claim that they asked him to bring a pump set for them to release him. I think it's not justified, and is not justified, and that is not the.
Now, staying with you, Abubakar Marshall, if you can hear me, you said the Nigerian police force might have a personal vendetta or an axe to grind with the former presidential candidate of AAC, Omoyele. Abubakar Marshall, if you can hear me clearly, you say the Nigerian police force might have a personal vendetta or an axe to grind with the person of Mr. Omoyele Sowore. We do understand, okay, we seem to have some connection issues with Abubakar Marshall.
All right, let's just go back to
So I'll just go back to Ine Ihebong. Now, yeah, there seems to be a solidarity amongst Nigerians, especially young Nigerians, with Mr. Sowore when it comes to the behavior of the men of the Nigerian police force. Where do we begin to address this issue of Nigerian policemen extorting innocent citizens and the incessant stop and search we see in many cities and, of course, highways? We do know that a lot of Nigerian policemen are there for legitimate reasons and to keep us safe, but quite a number of them too are just there for monetary reasons.
No, most of them are not there for legitimate reasons. Even me as a lawyer, every time most time when I'm on the road, they try to stop my vehicle. When they see and it's not like, it's not like they have any reason to do so. And the first thing they do is to ask for money. It is money they are looking for on the road. Let's not kid ourselves. We know what this is about. As I said, if they want to say that what the Sowore claim is false, let them bring a charge. We are waiting for them. If we have to call 1,000 Nigerians to give evidence in Sowore's defense, we are ready for that. But as I have told you that this is not about legal process. This is not about legality. It's not about bringing anybody to justice. This is just personal witch hunting, using the instrumentality of state to pursue personal grievances. That is what is happening here. And it is unfortunate that our institutions will be bastardized continuously in this manner, that you have a police force that has made itself a subject of international ridicule. The police continue to, continuously remind Nigerians that they do not have, serious things to do. At the time that crime is spreading across the country, right? At the time when there are legitimate law enforcement issues to be addressed, the Nigerian police continues to make itself a subject of ridicule. They continue to engage in frivolous cases, continue to take on things that do not concern them. So Sowore's case is just one of the many instances of police abuse of power that we are witnessing on a daily basis in the country. So let them bring the charge. We are waiting for them. That is what I can tell you.
Well, I'm sure that we'll get an update, like you've rightly said, Indibeye, and of course, this would be one thing that a lot of Nigerians would want to hear, especially on the social media space. I want to say thank you so much, gentlemen, for joining us. Thank you for shedding light on what happened yesterday, and looking forward to another response, especially from the Nigerian police force. Thank you so much for your time, and thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
All right. Well, we'll go for a quick break. When we come back, we'll take a look at what happened in the Lagos House of Assembly. An office that formerly belonged to one man has now turned out to belong to another, a deputy taking the lead to become the speaker. Stay with us. We have that story and more in a moment. Mojisola Miranda has officially assumed office as the Speaker of the Lagos State House of Assembly. Now, yesterday, she was welcomed by House members to the Lagos State Assembly complex, where a prayer session was held for unity and smooth leadership. But here's what you should know about this story. Mojisola Miranda was the deputy to former Speaker of the House, Mudashiru Obasa, who was impeached on the 13th of January 2025 following allegations of misconduct and misappropriation of funds. Obasa strongly rejected his removal, calling the process unconstitutional and may seek redress in court.
However, here's what we know. Obasa was conspicuously absent from the assembly yesterday as Miranda assumed office officially. Obasa was expected at the complex following his promise to resume back to office as Speaker regardless of his impeachment. In respect his statement, there was tight security to forestall any breakdown of law and order at the complex yesterday. Also, yesterday's plenary was adjourned to a later date by the leadership of the House. It was expected that Miranda would appoint chairmen to head standing committees that will oversee activities of the ministries, departments, and agencies in Lagos State. Now, join us this morning on Breakfast Central to discuss the recent political crisis in the Lagos State Assembly is legal practitioner Liboros Oshoma. Warm welcome to you, Liboros, and thanks for joining us on Breakfast Central.
Thank you.
Let's start with the legality of it. The former Speaker, Mudashiru Obasa, upon his return to Nigeria, said, "I am still Speaker." And he said that the way he was removed was illegal. He said he wasn't present. What does the law say about the process of the removal of a Speaker?
I think, thank you first and foremost, and I think it is the press that are actually helping Obasa to feel that his process, his removal was illegal. Because here we use the words impeachment and removal interchangeably. They are two different processes. Removal is a simpler process. Impeachment is a longer process. Impeachment actually, by Oxford Dictionary definition, is a charge against an elected officer. So, and when you charge, you would hear the other side, the doctrine, the twin pillars of natural justice. So for impeachment processes against, you can only impeach somebody who is elected for that office. Nobody goes to the poll to say, I'm contesting for the office of a speaker. So nobody is elected by the people, by the constituent as speaker. It is your colleagues that appointed you, elected you as a speaker. So it is your colleague that will remove you and not impeach you. So for governor, deputy governor, president, or vice president that are elected by the people, for you to remove them, you will have to impeach them.
And the impeachment process is the one spelled out in section 188, subsection 1 to 9, and then subsection 10. Then for removal of a speaker, section 91 created the office of the speaker and also spells out how he shall be removed and not impeached. So when the media said Obasa has been impeached, and so I heard him saying that you can't impeach me, you can remove him. He should even be happy that they are using the word impeachment for him, because impeachment is a longer process. You would have to serve the person notice, and then you hear the other side, and all of that. If he had said, well, I can only be impeached and not removed, like a governor would say, I can't be removed from office, I can only be impeached. So, but for Obasa, permit me quickly, because I have had cause to take time to read this to the benefit of our viewers. Section 92 of the Constitution, because I have not heard him cite any section of either their rule book.
Is he a lawyer? Sorry to butt him. He's meant to be a legal colleague of yours.
That's what I learned, that he's a lawyer.
Have you seen him in court?
Okay, you learned?
I learned he's a lawyer.
Okay. So let's move on.
So I will leave it at that. And but I've listened to him, and I never heard him talk about the particular sections or the rules, and even if he's not a lawyer, as a lawmaker, most of your sittings, your business in the House, you dwell on rules. You cite rules, regulations, order, I'm standing on order this, you rule that. So if you look at section 92, sub 1, it said there shall be a speaker and a deputy speaker of the House of Assembly who shall be elected by the members of the House from amongst themselves. And so it is like first among equal, or a class rep. The class decided, let us elect one person to be the class rep. So subsection 2 says the speaker or deputy speaker of the House shall vacate his seat if he ceases to be a member of the House, otherwise than by the raising of the dissolution of the House, or when the House first sits after the dissolution of the House, or if he is removed from office by a resolution of the House of Assembly by the votes of not less than 2/3 majority of the members of the House. You have a House of 40 members. 2/3 majority of 40, if we do the math, is 26.
Yeah.
And now you have 37. That's more than 2/3 majority. And 37 comes to say, we hereby vote to remove, unanimously, to remove the speaker. There is nothing in this Constitution or in their rule books that say the speaker must be present to be removed.
It could be removed in absentia.
It could be removed in absentia. The only thing is that the business of the House, as heard by the Supreme Court in the 2 cases of Peter Obi and then the Ladoja's case, that the business of the House of Assembly must be conducted in the place designated as House of Assembly. So in this case, was the business conducted in the hallowed chambers? The business was conducted here. And then he talked about the maze.
Yeah, I was going to.
You now begin to ask yourself, is there any document that designates what is official maze and what is not official maze? If you remember, during Okadigbo's time, Okadigbo took the maze to his village, in Anambra. And come Monday the next week, there was another maze.
No, it's just a symbolism.
It's a symbol. And so, when you say they use a fake maze, which one is the authentic maze?
Did they conduct DNA on the mix?
Exactly. so I expect this is a very serious matter. I expected him to also, come out, maybe after discussing with his lawyers, reel out sections and various rules that have been broken in his impeachment, and then, take the next step. But to come out to say, I'm not afraid to be removed, and but you should follow the due process. You should follow the law. When Jokotolak Pelumi was removed, he was in the house. When what's this other lady's name from Elukbeju, Kemi? I will remember her name. When she was removed, she was in the house. When members were suspended, they were in the house. that he wasn't around? What if, just like Okadibo, he got wind of the fact that he was going to be removed? Because these were the same people that wore dark goggles with him. They gave him passed a vote of confidence on him. So he probably got the wind that he was going to be removed. After all efforts to thwart the process, it didn't work. He now decided to lock up the mace somewhere and traveled abroad, thinking that will save him. But he was mistaken, forgetting that the mace is just a symbol. Once your colleagues that elected you as class rep decided that they no longer have confidence in you, the best thing would be you come back to the house, greet them and say, look, it happens. I enjoyed the time I spent here. It is now time to go. And that way, he would have been few inches taller if he had taken that step.
Which was yesterday.
Yes. No, even without addressing the press on the weekend, come to the house yesterday and then greet his colleagues and take, what had happened in his stride. Thank all of them for the time he served, and that life continues for the betterment of Lagos State. You ended up, after the press conference, you now ended up greeting the governor, greeting the first lady, greeting the GSC. President, greeting the GSC. So what was all of that for? So if at the end of the day, the GSC has accepted your removal, you greeted them, but you say no, the due process was not followed, you still remain the speaker. So that means you want to fight the establishment that made you. Some of these politicians will overrate them sometimes.
I mean, if we look at this in totality, it now clearly shows that Mudashiru Obasa himself possibly did not sit with his lawyers to really look at this clearly before he took that decision to come to the press on Saturday. But that's on the other side. On the other hand, yesterday he was expected to be at the assembly, but he did not show up. We were told that there was heavy presence of police officers, possibly due to the fear that he may be coming with his own, set of supporters who could cause a storm, who could whip a storm, cause a riot, you name it, here and there. But going further, since he wasn't at the assembly yesterday, is there any other law that could lead to the fact that should he come and cause trouble, what could likely happen?
Two things. At the chambers, there's what they call a legislative immunity. Whatever happens at the chambers, you cannot, go to court against it. You can't say, okay, there was a scuffle in the chambers and then you are charging people for parliamentarians or what happened in the chambers. They enjoy that immunity. That's why sometimes you see them, they fight, they tear each other's clothes like Dino Melaye.
Use the mace and
use the mace to all of that, like Evans BP in Port Harcourt and River State and all of that. So, but with this attitude from sampling public opinion also, with the attitude, you discover that he does not enjoy, public opinion support. Unlike Nigerians, they always support the person they feel is, the underdog. But for this one, everybody says, look, it's good riddance or bad rubbish. And that attitude is what is making people see him in that light. And with what he had displayed, you could say, even though he queried the fact that there were policemen at the assembly complex the day he was impeached on the 13th of January, you could say this attitude that he's exhibiting a conduct likely to breach public peace. And so there was need to anticipate that there might be breach of public peace. And so there's need to forestall that. And so with all of those threats that happened over the weekend, I would have been surprised. I would have blamed the police if the assembly complex, there were no security at the assembly complex yesterday. Because you anticipate that there's going to be, with the kind of crowd that came out, Agege is not Victoria Island.
Those ones that were singing on your mandate,
exactly,
that were put in the Black Barrier the other day.
Yes, exactly. So those guys that were singing on your mandate said they were you that came to pay courtesy visit on a man that is not around.
And it's the legislative chambers, the venue for courtesy visits.
Exactly. So And then over the weekend, you saw the crowd also with Obasa and all of that, and he insisting that he's still the speaker. Somebody actually said, let him resume on Monday. Let's know who the speaker is. According to IBB, he once told Abiola that when he said Abiola had declared himself as president, he said, you can declare, but we know who the president is. So in this case, he had declared that he still remains the speaker, but by yesterday, we actually knew who the speaker is. So, sorry, quickly. So the issue is, now with the threat issued, you'd certainly, if you are the police, you would want to anticipate that if, steps are not taken to forestall any breakdown of law and order, there would be, so there's need to have police presence. But also, another thing that's very germane for me is the fact that there were allegations of financial impropriety raised.
And that brings me to this question. You talked about legislative immunity, but Lagosians elected this representatives into the State House of Assembly. And let's talk about the reasons why he was removed, the financial misconduct. A lot of taxpayers are looking at the Lagos State House of Assembly. The spotlight is on them. 1 billion for Hilux, 17 billion for Gates. I'm sure when they built Gateway Hotel in Ota, it wasn't up to that. So when do we see criminal proceedings against Obasa? And are we going to hear more of this expose, the details, like they say, the devil is in the details of this alleged corruption? Are they duty bound to inform Lagosians that, look, this is what is happening?
Like I said, a speaker can be removed without reasons. It's just like master-servant relationship. But when there are allegations of financial impropriety, it is no longer a family affair, like APC is trying to make it look. PDP those days will tell us it's family affair. APC is towing the same line. It's a family affair. We're going to resolve it. It shouldn't, because we're talking about public funds. So it shouldn't end at the realm of family affair. He says he has defense, that he has receipts. It is not enough to have receipts. If I can build a gate for 3 billion and I will have receipts for it, this is Nigeria. So, but whether that 3 billion actually, was used to build that receipt is what investigation would reveal. So I would enjoin, if APC is not ready to do a petition to EFCC, because I would enjoin the opposition in Lagos, if they still exist anyway, to do a petition to the EFCC, requesting them to investigate this. And then EFCC should not sit back. We saw their commando-like style with Yaya Bello. They should also invite, Obasa. He says he has receipts. The investigation will reveal if this receipt truly, I can say I bought this top, for example, for ₦1 billion. And then you actually go to the market to do market survey, and you discover that it was sold for far, far less, maybe 50,000 naira. But there's a receipt. So both the man who issued the receipt and then the person who is also showcasing the receipt, we need to ask them for that question. So those are the issues. It's not enough to just say we treat this as a family affair, we are resolving it. And then another thing, those financial impropriety, the Lagos State Assembly should not make us believe that they were smoke screen. Because if you sweep the matter under the carpet, people will believe that they were smoke screen, that they were just mere allegations to paint a dog a bad name. Yet because of his attitude. During the budget presentation, you saw the attitude of the former speaker, and a lot of people felt maybe it's because he was contesting ambition. Yeah, it's a political ambition. Yeah, we agree. In politics, ambition kills faster than poison. You remember Julius Caesar was killed for passively seeming to be ambitious, even though his friend Mark Antony disagreed that he wasn't ambitious. In politics, ambition, we've seen people sacrifice for being ambitious. Exactly. So in this case, Ikufuriji was ambitious. He sat as speaker, even contested primaries with Ambode. So he wasn't removed. So I would not believe that is ambition, because in Lagos, we know who selects. You can be ambition. 100 people can come out and want to be governor. The day the man who decide that it is, Benga, and every other person will koto. The moment you go to court, you are suspended from the party. And once you are suspended, you are told that since you are no longer a member of the party, you have no locus to challenge what happens in the party. And that's the way they have been doing it. So it is not his ambition. His ambition is too small to want to suspend him. But I think it is more about his attitude.
Do you think the position got into his head? I mean, it's been in the legislature for about 20 years, speaker for 9 years. Did power corrupt him?
Yes, I think so. I think power corrupted him. You know, he went, even from his statement, he talks as if, you know, the office of a speaker was elected. He was elected for the office of speakership, and so he behaves, he carries himself as that. And so I think power corrupted him because ordinarily you would expect, you know, having been elected by your colleagues. And then we know, apart from Lagos State, every other state, almost every other state in Nigeria, you don't become speaker without the input of the governor. In some cases, the moment you fall out with the governor, you're going the next day. But here, because you have a Baba Sokwe, who decides who becomes governor and who becomes whatever in Lagos. So some persons can become speaker even without, having the support of the governor. But at the national level, you can't become a Senate president without the president sitting down to agree that, okay, yes, this person should go and that person should become, and they share the positions like that.
Unless a Saraki situation.
And Buhari said anybody that emerged, I'll work with him. But Saraki emerged, did they eventually work with him? They chased him until, they took the ticket from him. So all of this issue of, it's because the governor is interested.
Yeah.
You can't be a speaker in Lagos State and not be in good terms with the governor. Except the man who is decides that, okay, look, I want him there. But then, if you look at, I listened to Elder Fuad Oki. He said that, Obasa was becoming an emperor. Nobody could talk to him. And they called him to order severally. And they waited for the president to come. And they reported the matter. He also called a meeting and he saw the attitude himself. So that means that all of this they had seen consistently. Yeah. And so they decided it was time for him to go. You can't be an island. And even the members of the house that he thought were in his cupboards or were in his pocket, the way he spoke, they have been loyal to me.
Yes.
Yes. They have been loyal to me.
Almost like an institution.
Yeah, and we know in Yoruba culture, even as an Alafi, once your Yomesis decide that you have crossed your line, they present you with a calabash.
That's it. And that leads to your ouster, your exit.
Yes.
Anyway, before we go, just one last question. Before we go, let's look at Mojisola Miranda from deputy. Let's just take a look at this video and see what transpired yesterday.
Lawada.
It's a video of the new speaker, former deputy. A lot of drama going on there, right?
Quite religious, giving thanks to God. Very religious bunch there.
But what we wonder,
pretense. Pretense.
You call it pretense, right?
Yes, pretense.
Why do you call it pretense?
These are the same people that wore dark goggles with Obasa.
So
they passed a vote of confidence on him. So the current speaker should look, behind her back. All of them were with Obasa. Right? She should be careful. It's not everybody. The same people that shouted Hosanna to the Lord on Friday were the same people that shouted crucify him on Sunday. So these same people, for me, they are politicians. What is our place? Politics. But it is good for the current speaker, they came out to pay allegiance, to show Obasa that, look, if we were once loyal to you, we are loyal to a new cause now. So that's also is a way of sending strong signal and strong messages. She's taking the office and, now there will be realignment. And that realignment, some people would get juicy and some people will get non-juicy.
House of Cards. I only just wish they used the same type of energy and enthusiasm to improve the lot of
exactly. So that's my challenge here. So you people somebody once said that Lagos House of Assembly is one of the most docile because whatever happens, there's no innovation. You know, it's either okay, the executive bill. What do you call it? Mostly executive bills, and then maybe a constitutional constitutional amendment like the local government autonomy, you know, and all of those things. And you know, you hardly hear that. Okay, yes, Lagos State House of Assembly has taken initiative to do X, Y, Z. You know, so it is like, you know, tiwa. Yeah. So when you hear them talk like this, oh yes, because we want to be independent, you begin to wonder what kind of independence that we're talking about here. But really, Lagos being first in so many, maybe that's why, you know, you have the kind of people you have. Anybody can go to Lagos Assembly, just pass your time there the next 4 years, or someday you just become speaker like Obasa.
Thank you so much for being with us and shedding light into this. I'm sure a lot of our viewers have benefited, and we look forward to see what will happen. Hopefully, Obasa would show up humbly, maybe, and just resume office.
And it can also stay away from work for too long, because there are house rules.
Yeah, if you stay away, your seat might be declared vacant.
Let's hope that that will not be the next phase, hopefully. Anyway, let's bring to you a recap of what we talked about this hour here on Breakfast Central. For the first hour, police invite Sowore sets bail conditions. We've looked at that story. We had, of course, two human rights activists join us to break it down. Meanwhile, Sowore also rejected bail conditions, insisting on detention only. And just now, new Lagos Speaker Miranda assumes office. You saw that celebration going on, and we've talked about the intricacies that are involved. Let's tell you what's coming up next here on Breakfast Central. Coming up next on Breakfast Central, we're looking at top trends for 2025 event. I bet you want to know what it's all about. And don't forget, we have the front pages of the newspapers coming up right now. After which, we'll be looking at what Nigerians are saying. So stay put. We'll be right back. Thanks for staying with us here on Breakfast Central. Let's go straight to the front pages of the papers. We do have joining us, publisher the Niche newspaper. Mechi joins us this morning. Well, I can tell that from the look of your face, you are possibly, you know, settled with the story that I'm sure would make the headlines. Looking at the fact that Chief, I mean, you know where I'm going to. Farotimi has been pardoned. You know, a lot of people are already talking. But let's shoot the papers. Let's see where we're starting from. Let's start off with the leadership this morning and see what the front pages are saying so the audience can also follow through. Let's start off with this one. Kaduna Governor defends negotiation with bandits. This story, different reactions to that story though, declares it's better than losing lives, says only victims' families will understand, not Nigerians. ACF Arawa youths back Ubasani again, 7 farmers killed in Benue. 160 billion USSD debt, 5 banks rush to meet disconnection deadline. We also have court acts to stop sacking of CCT chair. PDP crisis, Southeast leaders reject meeting with NWC. And I'm just going to take one more. Nothing more on the front page of the leadership. Seems a bit quite
just empty. Something, sports story.
Yeah, I mean, Super Eagles to battle Tunisia, Uganda, Tanzania in group stage.
Maybe should qualify.
Not bad, not bad. Anyway, away from leadership, let's have the next paper right on the screen. Benga.
Yes, the Punch newspaper, the headline is Afenifere can others oppose push for Sharia in Southwest, and the writer says regional focus should be on debt, not religion, says Yoruba group Muslims and clerics defer. And there's also a national conference, federal government restates commitment to better Nigeria. And we also have Farotimi Afenifere Obi Hill Afebobolola for withdrawing defamation suit. And Dangote refinery to receive 12 million barrels of U.S. crude. Interesting development there. And of course, at the header, we have PDP crisis uncertainty as National Working Committee members shun Southeast meeting. And a report from Budget says MDA spent 16 billion naira on Esther Code and compensations in 2 years. And of course, the story that we've been talking about here, Lagos Assembly plans to probe Obasa for fraud. Interesting headline there.
All right, Mr. Gechi, let's take a look at the first story there. Let's start off with Lagos State. Let's look at Obasa. How did you see the turnout of events over the weekend where he granted a press conference and spoke tough, saying that he wasn't present and shouldn't have been, sanctioned or let go, removed. Let's use the word removed, not impeached, removed from being the speaker.
Did the removal follow due process? The answer is yes. So that the speakership is not for Obasa to keep. He's been elected for the third term. Don't forget, he became a speaker in 2015. This is 2025. That makes it now 10 years. If he had lasted the whole of this tenure, he could have probably stayed there for 12 years, making him the longest serving speaker, at least Lagos has ever had. So I think the guy had a fair share. In fact, I would say an unfair share of the largesse that has become politics, particularly in Lagos State, and particularly those who belong to the Bola Ahmed Tinubu camp. But so it is not his birthright, and that he's a lawmaker does not automatically translate. There are 40 members of that house, and all of them are equal, and all of them could be speaker. After, there's nothing special about Obasa that you can say, okay, these are the qualities that qualify him, and therefore it must be him that will keep that position as the speaker. So there is nothing exceptional, special about him. So I don't know what the noise is all about. Somebody was speaker before him. At least, I think he took over from Ikufuruji. Mamora was once a speaker in this state. So let him go. He's gone, but let him go quietly. All this noise that he's making, I don't know where he's getting that temerity to make the noise. Some say that his impeachment was not sanctioned by the president, who, by the way, is still the godfather of Lagos politics. That was why after the impeachment, all of them had to go now to report to the godfather. This is what we have done, and explained why they did what they did. Obasa, I think, has also visited the president, and it is after he visited the president that he started talking tough about he's still the speaker and all that. So nobody knows what the president told him, because that's about the only thing that can give him this level of audacity. But the truth of the matter is that 32 of the 40 members agreed to say enough is enough. Even if you return as speaker tomorrow, how could you be speaker over people who don't want you? It doesn't make sense. But there's a lot of impunity in this country, in this so-called democracy, that nobody seems to abide by the tenets of democracy. If I were Obasa, I will go
quietly.
He has had a good run, 10 years. If he had stayed until about June, it would have been 10 years as the speaker. Financially, he's far better off today than he was 10 years ago. So what else does he want? I'm not too sure he's in a position to do this ruffle fight. Because if he does, there are issues out there.
Talking about the issues, on the front page of the Punch, there's a section there that says Lagos to probe Obasa. Do you think this will happen, or the APC and the will say, you know, it's a family issue, let's leave it out? Because by doing that, they will be exposing themselves, and we'll see a lot of skeletons in the cupboard and canker worms.
They won't probe him. I think what they are trying to do is to blackmail him into going quietly, as he ought to. That they won't probe him does not mean that there are no issues. After all, members of that assembly made the allegations in the first place. I wrote a column last week after Obasa's impeachment, what next? And my own take is that since you guys alleged that he did so and so, and that he was almost going to ruin the assembly and the state, and that you did what you did to save not only the status of assembly and Lagos state, why don't you file petition to the EFCC and say, look, these are the allegations we have against this guy. He did so and so, and therefore we want him probed. They won't do that because they know that even if push comes to shove and tomorrow Obasa is being probed, all of them, none of them there will go.
They'll be implicated.
There will be a lot of implications. So they won't go. And, you know, Joe, you need to understand what is going on in Nigeria in the name of politics. It's all about money. It's all about money. And because there's no accountability, there's nothing. Nobody is held responsible. There's no difference between private and public purse. So that even the money that comes to the State House of Assembly is shared the way it ought to be. There are so many stakeholders that are settled. I think part of the problem Obasa has is that he's beginning to neglect some of those shared formula. That is what got him into trouble. Not all this issue of about being overbearing. It is not today that he started being overbearing, and he started being overbearing because the man who calls all the shots in Lagos politics had his back. So, will they probe him? I don't think so. I think it is just sheer bluster. They want to tell him, look, don't go that route because if we want to deal with you, we can do it. I think he will quietly go, and it will be business as usual. The person who is there now will continue from where Obasa stopped, and everybody will go home smiling.
Talking of smiling, let's pick a call. We do have Fumi. Fumi is calling us from Lagos. Good morning, Fumi.
Good morning.
Welcome. Go ahead with your contribution.
Yes, my contribution is about this Obasa. I think the media also is overplaying this issue. I mean, they elected him, they removed him. If Obasa will be humble, I mean, he is not the first person to be removed. I think if I were in his shoes.
Hello, Fumi, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Go ahead, please.
He has the Obasa record that if I were in his shoes, I will go quietly. What's the big difference? If I just one among equals, he was not suspended. Therefore, he should go back and represent the people of Agege that voted for him. I think it's is a non-issue. And the typical APC Lagos matter, the storm in the teacup will soon be over. And I think that the assembly people too, they did it in a very cowardly manner. In other states, they will be seated there for them to make the allegations and remove. But whatever it is, I think the media should just downplay this. There are more serious issues in this nation than Obasa elected and removed. He's not the first person to do it.
Okay.
Thank you, Fumi.
Anyway, thank you so much, Fumi. I think we got your point. We did get her point there. But let's move on to another paper very quickly. If we have the Tribune, I'd like us to take a story there very, very quickly. The Nigerian Tribune. It says 30 million more Nigerians at risk of poverty this year. Salome's murder, gospel singer makes U-turn, pleads not guilty. Under 2025 budget, hefty allocation to lawmakers despite hardship. Edu declares Nigeria's electricity sector open for investment. And Arab Shala's loyalists weigh 3 options after leaving APC. So there's a lot I'd like us to touch on. But I'm hoping you can touch on these, just 2 stories from here very quickly. Let's take Salome's murder. The alleged gospel and embattled gospel singer has made a U-turn in court saying he's not guilty. That's 1. 2, I'd like you to also touch on Ondo 2025 budget. Despite the fact that the headline screams that 13 million more Nigerians are at risk of poverty, we see lawmakers, taking a heavy package. We do have Chudi who's calling us as well. Let's take this call before I come to those 2 stories. Good morning.
Good morning.
Yeah, Chudi, please go ahead.
Yeah, thank you very much. I want to salute my brother in the studio, Mr. Mechi. I listened very well. I have been following Obasa's case removal or impeachment very closely. Like the last page. I don't know why Africans, they don't really want to relinquish power. If we have to be somebody in the Western world, the person will quietly exit himself without making a noise. It boils down to be, again, that Nigerian democracy is faulty. How could members of the House of Assembly, after doing their job, big duty, they will go to Abuja to report to Mr. President? You know, Wike is having problem with the governor. They are going to Abuja to report to Mr. President. I think in Nigeria democracy, is it what is obtainable outside the shores of Nigeria? The answer is no. So Nigerian democracy is faulty. That is the angle I want to pick my tent. And I think Mr. Obasa, what I have had, he has many skeletons in his cupboard. They are talking about the qualification, bribery, and so on and so on. Get to be a gentleman.
Okay. All right, Chudi, thank you so much. Thank you. All right, let's leave Obasa now. We appreciate your points. Let's go straight to lawmakers earning, hefty sums and
more Nigerians falling into the poverty
and all that.
Yeah.
Well, Joe, what exactly is there to talk about? It is the anomaly that we are seeing everywhere, from National Assembly. Look, the politicians are simply doing their things. They don't care about the man on the street. Instead, they are bringing more policies that will impoverish the people while they are lining their pockets. Look, are the convoys of the politicians, particularly those in the executive arm of government, are they reducing? Are they not going for their medical trips abroad? many of the governors now, they don't, in fact, all of them, they don't travel on commercial airlines. They do charter. There is one state governor that lives permanently in Abuja and has a private jet that is stationed at the airports. Spends about 2 weeks in Abuja, flies to the state that he claims to be governing, spends a day to do one or two things, and flies back to Abuja. This is the level of impunity that is there. Atiku was lamenting yesterday that the Nigeria's democracy is diminishing, or that if Nigeria is not careful, that we will lose our democracy. But the question to sincerely ask, if we are trying to be honest to ourselves, is that, is this a democracy? Do we have, or the mere fact that people wearing agbada and not kake are there today, does that make it a democracy? What is the classical definition of democracy? A government of the people, by the people, for the people. To what extent do we have the people content in what we call democracy? Are the people,
after every 4 years, they go to the polls. Is that enough?
After every 4 years, but that is assuming that what the vote that people cast at the ballot every 4 years is a reflection of the announcements that are made in terms of who won and who did not win. You see, that people are out there. In any case, even the last election, even the 4 years, we've seen our democracy degenerating to such a level that people will not tell you, if you're not going to vote for so and so political party, don't dare to come out on election day. And if you come out, you are brutalized, you are beaten, and all that. Is that the way it works? So that every 4 years that we say we are going to democracy. Look, after the 2023 elections, go and check how many elections ended up in the courts. The Nigerian judiciary, more or less, determines the outcome of over 50% of all electoral contests in this country. Is that the idea of democracy? People might say that that going to court is part of the electoral process, but there is something fundamentally wrong in a situation where
there's no confidence in the polls.
3 people or 5 judges of the Supreme Court, who none of them cast a ballot in an election, for instance, in the governorship election, but they will sit down to determine that this person is the man who won election. The best thing to do in the circumstance is that if there is a doubt, to say, okay, go back to the polls so that the people will decide who they want to superintend over the affairs of the state. But that's not what we see. What we see is democracy by the judiciary. It doesn't make sense. So the level of impunity that we are witnessing, the bottom line is that the politicians don't care a hoot about what you are doing, what you are going through, and I don't know why Nigerians are so docile. They are not reacting. In any other place, in any other country, people have to take their destiny in their own hands and say enough is enough. If we are part of this process called democracy, and if we are going to be in power because of our votes, don't forget what this is all about, is that a people have sacrificed or relinquished their power to a people and say, do this on our behalf. If those people are not doing what they're supposed to do, this is the only country where a political party does so abysmally in office. A governor does so abysmally in office. A president does so abysmally in office. Then in the next election, the same people purportedly re-elect that political party. Look, in any other country where APC did as badly as it did in the 8 years it was in power under Buhari, in fact, we should take APC the next 20 years to ever come back to power.
I mean, Rotimi Amechi once said, you know, the people are docile because they're too poor to organize. That's why they don't react to these things. But I guess we'll just leave it there.
On the flip side, I think it is that poverty, because they know who is the cause of that poverty. In an ideal situation, that poverty should trigger them to do something about their fate. Otherwise, they will all die in silence.
All right. Anyway, it's been a very interesting review of the papers, especially looking at the Obasa review from you, your insights. And of course, thanks to our callers as well, who called in, Fumi and of course, Sichiri. Well, we'll be back again tomorrow, definitely looking at the papers, but for now, we'll go on a quick break. We do have 2 guests who will be joining us to talk about something spectacular that you would love to know. Stay with us.
Welcome back to Breakfast Central. Now, independent media specialist company Media Reach OMD has announced its highly anticipated Top Trends event for 2025 with the theme Unlocking Insights in Market, Consumer and Media. Join us this morning to discuss Top Trends events with us. We're joined by Ezene Eze, a senior executive in data and tech. She's also the project manager for Top Trends. Also joining us is Emmanuel Charis Adediran, the project coordinator for Top Trends.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Thanks for joining us on the program. I'd like to start with you, Ezene. Can you tell us what this Top Trends event is all about?
Okay, so of course it's in its 4th year. I mean, it started in 2022, and the Top Trends event has unlocked on forward-thinking thought leadership in the marketing landscape in Nigeria. And basically what the event is about is to unlock insights one at a time, media, consumer, and market. So basically that's just a short synopsis of what the event is about.
Thank you. Interesting. So who are the organizers? Is it Media Reach OMD or is there any other organizers?
Of course, yeah, it's a collaboration actually. So, I mean, the collaboration tells you the credibility of this event. So it's a collaboration between Media Reach OMD, the National Institute of Marketing Nigeria, Geopol, a South African-based research company, and Lagos Business School. And I mean, it's 4 years in a row, right? And because of the credibility of this partnership, it shows the kind of information and the credibility of the trends that you should expect to hear at the event.
The event is in its 4th year, like you said. What should we be expecting at this year's event? Any different themes or anything special happening?
Oh, yes, certainly. For this year, the Top Trends is going hybrid. For the past 3 editions, we've had them virtually. And for the first time this year, we're going hybrid. So we're going to have a physical on-site event with about 50 senior business executives and marketing executives in Lagos, while the other participants will be able to connect online, virtually on Zoom.
Oh, very interesting. I mean, can you share with us the date and also the time And how can people actually register to attend? Because you said it's actually hybrid, so I should be able to register if I really want to attend.
Oh, certainly. So the event registration link is bit.ly/toptrends2025, all in uppercase. That's the URL for registration. And then for those that will be joining virtually. But for the physical event, it's strictly based on invitation, and those that will be there already have their invites. The date is 29th of January, which is tomorrow.
Okay.
Yeah, kicks off by 10 a.m. prompt, and would expect all participants to be seated by 9:45 a.m.
Okay, so let me get it right. The event is tomorrow.
Yes.
29th.
Exactly.
Okay. It starts from 10 a.m.
Exactly.
Okay, and since I have not gotten my invitation, like those who are equally interested, because you want to know the top trends in marketing, insight, you want to have insights into consumer and so on, name it.
Exactly.
And I'm interested. So you want to take that link slowly again.
Okay.
That's bit.ly
/ capital TOP, that's top, then trends, TRENDS 2025.
Okay.
So yeah, 2025. But all of that is in caps and it's one word.
Oh, I see.
So the bit.ly is in lowercase / then top trends all caps.
In caps.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you can register to attend virtually since you didn't get the physical invitation.
All right.
Now, what should top brands expect from the takeaway from them from attending this event to improve their marketing strategies?
I mean, the Top Trends event is not something any marketer in Nigeria should miss, because one of the things that we see is that the marketing landscape is evolving. I mean, a lot of things are changing, shifting consumer behavior, changing consumer behavior. I mean, it's beginning to evolve. We see a lot of things are really changing the marketing landscape in Nigeria, the adoption of AI in media and all of that. So as a marketer in Nigeria, you want to attend this event to see how you can adopt some of these shifts and trends into your marketing strategy. You understand?
Regardless of industry.
Yes, regardless of industry.
There's something there for everyone.
Exactly. Everything, every insight, there's something for you to pick to help your marketing strategy for this year.
Now, joining online, is it free?
Yes, of course. You just need to register.
I think that's a very vital question because these days,
I need some of this. We need some of these insights.
Yeah.
To be honest,
we need to know.
right? Because the information that will be given, of course, should be paid for, because we're giving things that are very valuable for free. But the truth is, it is for free. Yes, you just need to register.
I mean, now that we have the invention of artificial intelligence, we do have different modes of marketing, our mobile devices. I mean, look at us. We're leaving writing in paper. I still love writing, though. You know, we're now tech. You still write with papers, right?
Well, I have my notepad.
See, that's my right. No, anytime. I mean, don't call us old school, but I mean, once in a while we try.
I'm different. I'm a tech bro.
I mean, we're all tech savvy, regardless. But the question is, what would make the difference if people attend? Looking at the fact that there's this AI, you know, tech and so on. How do you think it's going to change the trends of marketing, and how can people get ready to hear about these things at the event?
Let me allow Emmanuel to take that first.
So when it comes to, just to piggyback on what you said around artificial intelligence, right? A lot of marketers are, I'll try not to give you too much into the trends, but
I know.
So a lot of marketers, the general feel is there's a lot of apprehension when you hear AI. Is AI going to take our jobs and all of that? But when you come to the top trends, we break it down for you. We let you understand how you can begin to apply artificial intelligence to improve on what you're doing. So it's not really about how it takes your job. There's no need to be afraid of artificial intelligence, but we equip you with relevant information and insights that you can immediately begin to apply. We're in January, right? A lot of brands are finalizing on their marketing plans for the year. So this, event couldn't have been better planned in terms of timing. It comes at a very crucial time where you're just about to kick off into the year, and you can make those final tweaks and adjustments to ensure that you win, especially in the Nigeria that we find ourselves today. So it's a very relevant and insightful session that no marketer should miss.
Beyond marketers and business owners, let's talk about the average Nigerian consumer. What should they expect looking forward to the top trend event? What's in it for them?
Okay.
Because not everybody is a business.
Of course. I mean, that's why the event seeks to give insight also into consumers. So, I mean, the average Nigerian consumer should look forward to understanding their brands, know how brands can better target them, understand how even their own behavior, what is affecting some changes in their behavior and how brands are targeting these changes to better reach them. So these are some of the things that consumers should look forward to within the event.
And also, I think from a consumer perspective, it's also to let them understand that we hear you, right?
Yeah,
a lot of consumers feel brands are not connecting with them. So the Top Trends provides us a platform where we can also air the concerns of the consumers, their expectations to the brands in a manner that they can hear, and implement those changes. So for the consumers, we'll tell you that Top Trends will make you feel heard, and we can pass your information. I mean, there's a lot of concerns.
I mean, as a consumer of petrol, can you guys please help us bring the price down?
Well, can you almost bring the petrol price down? I mean, even the bag of rice, as a consumer, bag of rice, I want to...
Those kind of conversations,
that the bag of rice should come down.
Yeah, but on the more serious note, right? We actually have, like we said, it's research-backed. Consumer research that informs a lot of this trend. So you're going to be seeing a lot of Nigerians air their opinions.
Their views,
brands will be in a position where they can actually pay attention.
Okay, so finally, in 30 seconds, could you share with us how many speakers you're looking to have? Is there going to be a panel session? What's it like so people can have a picture? Yeah.
Oh, certainly. So we're going to be having speakers like Professor Uchenna Uzo, from Lagos Business School. We'll have Ricardo from Geopo, South Africa, Stephen Onaivi, the Managing Director of Media Reach OMD. We have Dr. Busola Tejumola,
the Head of Content
and Multi-Choice
Africa.
Then we have a keynote speaker who is the Managing Director of Reckitt Benckiser Sub-Saharan Africa. I think there are two others. If you could just let me check.
High-powered panel.
I mean,
like
all that you've
Ricardo from the Geopo Regional Director of Research.
We have Akin Oluri Olagbeleye, the Head of Marketing of CAP PLC.
Right. And then
Oluwafemi Adeniba, the Managing Partner of SOSMA Consulting. So it's a power-packed panel.
Very interesting. Well, don't forget to register. You can see the link there on the screen. That's bit.ly/Top Trends 2025. Register and attend. It starts tomorrow at 10 a.m. I want to say thank you so much for being here. Is in there, and of course, Emmanuel Charis Adidiro. Please pass our message across. We need the price of
rice and oil.
Make sure you
just register. Yes, just register. So
that's all on the show today. Thank you so much for watching Breakfast Central. It's been amazing ending the show with our fantastic guests. Until tomorrow morning, we'll come back and we'll talk about some of the biggest stories coming out from Nigeria. I'm Joe Hansen.
And I'm Benga Bora. See you tomorrow.